Hello, I'm Seth Stewart. This is Addressing Mental Health on a Global Scale Strategies for Improvement. This is for the Global Issue Seminar, and I'll be addressing what we've been working for the past 6 weeks of continuing to address mental health and strategies for improvement. Uh, First is addressing global health on a, or excuse me, mental health on a global scale. Most time we see media coverage of famine, war, natural disasters. All of those are very prevalent, but we usually do not see anything about how mental health crisis is a global issue. We know it's going on, but it's usually not in the news. It's just as devastating to the global population, and effective interventions need to be developed and enacted. Uh, my literature review, I changed it up from my original one from week 3. I found a lot better research that was more fitting for what I was trying to go after. I'll just do a quick overview of what each one was about: pandemics and mental health, cultural and geographical barriers and mental health resources, financial barriers and mental health resources, religion and mental health, disadvantaged nations and mental health resources, war and mental health, availability of preferred mental health resources, and mental health of aid workers. And do the definition. The first one, what I posted, was from the World Health Organization. They define mental health as a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own ability, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make contribution to his or her community. Also have another definition in my actual final project. It's very similar, but move past that. Mental health global impact. The emphasis on preserving mental health worldwide has been brought to the forefront by COVID-19 pandemic, wars, and large number of refugees. Mental health crises are more commonly recognized or faulted for events that have occurred due to years of untreated mental illness. When I was doing the research, first thing that came to mind on that is whenever we see a mass shooting, I can't remember exactly where it is. All my stuff is usually law enforcement related, but I think it was up north somewhere where a subject drove a vehicle through a parade or toward the end of a parade. Not a normal person would do that. Obviously, they were suffering from some kind of mental health issues. And there must be dedicated efforts to create accessible, affordable, and successful mental health resources. And I'll start with possible solutions that I came across. First part of research was a strong belief system that supported seeking help. One of the research that I found, it's by Banker and Karp and Shane, were the authors. They used a survey for Orthodox Jews about the impact of COVID-19 during the lockdowns and their beliefs in mental health. At the same time, with that survey, they came to realize that somebody with a strong belief system usually does better with seeking help and getting help, and the stigma is kind of away from it, which we'll get more into that. Another thing of research that I found was in Ethiopia, cultural stigma along with governmental indifference to mental health is a huge barrier for them seeking mental health. There's a need to consider the use of religion and cultural resources to increase the utilization of mental health resources. Another thing, research concluded that a decline in participation in religion can correlate with a decline in mental health well-being. Also theorized that being involved in community groups that are non-religious may duplicate the effect, which that means just pretty much having a strong support system, somebody with you or somebody you can talk to that might be there to listen or at least to recommend the correct way to go. With these studies in mind, the conclusion can be made that cultural or group beliefs factor greatly into willingness to seek, participate, and maintain compliance with mental health interventions. By training mental health professionals who are already within the group and using their belief and knowledge, their personalized mental health resources to the group, kind of like exactly what I said, using their resources and their experience to help send somebody. Another solution is accessibility of mental health resources. That's a huge obstacle even in highly developed countries like the United States. Blair, which is another research, was stressed the need for the ongoing funding for Protecting Rural Telehealth Access Act, which protects access to audio-only technologies. And a quick breakdown of that one is, in small communities, someone might not want to drive up to a doctor that's known for their mental health with the stigma of their vehicle being seen there, people seeing there, the rumor mill starting, and these small towns, villages, stuff like that. With telehealth, it's similar to what we're doing with our classes. It's all electronically, and with that resource, people might be more willing to seek out the help that they need without having to worry about the stigma of someone seeing their vehicle at a mental health doctor, or at least the doctor being able to talk to them through a video visit, or at least just talking to them on the phone and hopefully prescribing them the correct medication. And then the follow-up on that is just recognizing that accessibility is a key component of mental health. I lost my spot, sorry. Knowing where to find the appropriate mental health resources is another essential component. This is kind of switching into like war zone areas like Ukraine. Availability in Ukraine, Russia, and England. Mental health measures that are established and have been validated are freely available for anyone to download at a central website. So that's pretty much just more help for them. They can do it online. In addition to those problems already, the stigma, and then using religious resources to help, obviously with probably everybody's mental health global issue is money and personnel. I'll kind of skim through this real quick, and I'll skip to the next slide. Yep, funding for these mental health resources and making sure these mental health resources who supply their essential services are appropriately monitored and supported. Again, I'll just be kind of quick on this one. Everybody kind of understands these. Funding for all these, and I did put a graph on this slide. It kind of shows how much funding there is, and mental health is a very small factor of that. Also, with the mental health professionals who supply these essential services, they're monitored and supported. So I know a huge thing, and I'm going to kind of go away from my paper. It's an experience of a real life one that we deal with here in the United States. Was being in law enforcement, we run across a lot of people that do have mental health issues, and there's very limited resources. And the people that do want to help are so pressured, they're so busy that they cannot take the time to appropriately help the people that they are there to help. And then the conclusion, the global mental health crisis is not a simple problem. This cannot be solved by simple solutions or just one solution at that, as we explained. And if mental health illnesses are not addressed, we'll continue to see deal with the outcomes of this. And I think we're clearly seeing the outcomes and what the problems can be. And the last page is my reference page, and it's the same references I use for my paper. Thank you very much.